start with personal appeals. Any personal appeals? Hearing none. I guess we can just go through the letters that we received. We received one last night for the Emmaus Arts Commission. And I think the only thing that we need to do is just approve use of the triangle, right? I mean, they're going to have sound.
What is it? Is it one person making a piece of art?
No, I think they do the sidewalks and they cover them in like they do like art.
But it says, sorry.
Because in our Gen Ed meeting, Angela Fadley is the one that's doing the project, and she talked about how she did it in another
Description of event, artist creating artwork on sidewalks, artist singular. So is it just, there's going to be one person down there creating artwork and people are going to watch them create artwork with music?
Maybe it's that big, like you've seen the chalk art where it looks like you're climbing up a skyscraper or something.
Yeah, if it's that,
I don't know.
I don't either. Yeah, those are crazy.
Yeah, I think you need a lot more room than the triangle.
Yeah, they need a road. I thought it was, when she talked about it, when she was being interviewed for the position, I remember her going in depth about it, but I don't remember if it was just one person. I was thinking it was multiple.
I was thinking it was like open to the community.
Yeah, maybe this is, since the first year, maybe it's something that started up. I don't know.
So, well, regardless, even if it's one or multiple.
I was just curious.
I don't think it makes sense.
I'll make a motion that we grant them approval.
We're really approving that they have amplified sound.
Oh, that's it? I thought it was the use of the triangle.
Well, and a tent. I mean,
You probably should, considering they're going to put
So-
chalk all over everything.
I'll make a motion to grant approval of what the request is. That covers
Sound, tent, and use of triangle.
yes. Second
Yeah, I'll second it.
discussion.
it. Yeah, anybody, starting amplified sound at 9?
It's a Sunday morning,
Is that what Tom said?
Yeah, they want Sunday at 9 a.m. I don't know.
You've been on your rule was 10 with the Main Street partners. So
I think I'd tell them not to start amplification until 10. It's a Sunday.
I would feel more comfortable for a Sunday morning.
What time's the farmer's market start typically?
10 to 2.
Just tell them to start at 10.
I'd like to be kind of consistent on that if we can.
Yeah.
10.
I think it's a good policy. My only other concern would be that the chalk washes away without any labor from anyone. And I would assume it does, but I don't know. I mean, sidewalk chalk typically just washes away, right?
Yeah. Where's it?
Okay, so I'll amend that to have the amplified sound start at 10.
And I'll amend the second.
Okay. All in favor?
No, if it wasn't amplified, it was just acoustic or something, I'd probably have a different opinion, but.
Yeah, it does say amplified sound. You should check yes,
Yeah.
and then it says 2-person band. So. We received a letter from Kathy Mincer, who's interested in being reappointed. Since that practice has changed, we can now approve this in advance.
yeah, the only time that you're not allowed to approve it in advance is if it's a changeover in council year.
Right.
Next year, for example.
Okay.
You can't approve somebody that their term expires January 1st.
Right, okay.
You can't
December.
approve them in December.
Okay.
Okay.
Has to be the new council members that approve.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
That's where it gets illegal. That's where.
I make a motion that we reappoint Kathy Mincer for a 4-year term? Is it 4-year term?
I think it's 5. Three.
So it would
3?
expire when?
Parks and Rec Commission, yeah, 3 years.
Okay, so I make a motion to reappoint Kathy Mincer for a term of May 1st, 2013 to May 1st of 2016.
Second.
Yes, second.
All in favor? So that expires the 6/5/1/16. Did you say?
Correct.
5/1/16.
is the girl that I ran like 50-mile race for to raise money for diabetes.
Oh, really?
For real?
Yeah. Back when she was just a little girl.
Really? Isn't that interesting? Well,
I recognize the name.
Huh.
Because they lived in Lower McCountry back then. Unless she's on her own now.
I'm just reading it now, I didn't see it. so-
Also found out since then she was homeschooled.
This is the one that you,
Yeah, that was sitting right there.
yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot about Linda too.
Oh,
Linda, sorry, I totally missed you, I didn't even see you there, Jeff blocked your view, I'll bring you right up here after that, sorry.
Take your time, take your
Yeah.
time.
Your fault, Jeff.
Sorry, I blamed you there, I was looking down and didn't even see.
So what is this?
It looks like she wants to do.
she wants to be on the Special Entertainment Commission.
Yeah.
Well, normally we interview.
I believe there's someone else interested right now. I don't know if they filled something out or not. I know Janae said there's.
what you have is what you have.
Okay.
Do you know this person?
I don't. No.
Janae?
That's it.
I don't know if Janae does. I don't know. I think she does. I think this is a face painter person. I think this person paints faces.
I think you're right.
Could that be?
The name sounded really familiar.
Yeah, it says
I think she's a face
business
painter.
owner of Fantastic Faces and Body Art. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we want to do an interview or if we want
I suggest we set
to.
up an interview.
Yes.
And if there's somebody else interested, they need to get it in,
Right.
or else we
Yeah.
approve this.
Yeah, because I would fill that last part as soon as I can.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
the first time we'd be full and forever.
Especially since you saw that schedule that they
Yeah, no,
they had last night.
they really are working like crazy. It's crazy how much they've gotten done. Yeah, if we can.
Does she live in the borough?
Yes, she does. And even if she didn't, we'd be okay.
222.
Oh, because everybody lives in the borough. It's on that commission.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
the block of the. Isn't it?
Yes, just one past the post office.
Freedom Plus.
Can we have a
One
copy? Oh, no, she made a copy for you already. Looks like she already made a copy for you, so I have the original somewhere.
Okay.
I think you
Yes,
have
you did.
have it.
Yeah, this letter
That's awesome.
that we got today.
6:30 at the next council meeting, maybe we can interview her.
Sure.
Get her in right, good.
Well, what if I get another one in the meantime? Do you want me to set that one up at 6:30 too?
Sure. They take 5 minutes.
Yeah. Why are you interested? Can you make a meeting?
Yeah. Give them pulse.
All right, so I'll have Kathy give her a call. And have her here at 6:30 for the next council. So that means you guys need to be here at 6:30 too.
Oh, you're good. If we remember.
I'll put that in the travel.
Yeah.
That's why I said that, just to.
Yeah. We received a letter. Did you get this one? I just got this.
Can you read it?
Yeah, it was a request for a 10 by 20 foot tent at the end of the Lions Pavilion. They've rented the pavilion on June 8th, 2013. They're having a baby shower for her daughter, and they want the extra room for gifts and food. Lori Bisbing, 1442 Shimerville Road.
How big is the tent?
10 by 20. No, that's
How
not
big
bad.
how big are the pavilions on
No,
that
10 by 10
10
is
by
a
10 is
pop. 10 by 10 is a pop up.
How big are the pavilions where the Lions Club pavilion is?
Here.
Close to.
Yeah, that's an original too.
Yeah.
Okay. Any objection to that? I make a motion that we grant use of the tent
Second.
for their baby shower.
Discussion. Have we ever? I can't think of another scenario. I mean, it's not a big tent, so.
Main Street Truckers was allowed to have it for like clam bake and stuff.
Okay. So,
And vendors for other events,
Correct, vendors in the park.
like the blues
Not
festival.
typically attached to a pavilion. I think Main Street we have.
yeah.
Their clam bake, they had them
Okay.
in there.
Good. All in favor? Yeah. And I guess if you would just put a copy in there so others can see that better. Did you intend to give me these?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is your stuff. Yeah, it's all you.
Your stuff.
That's not from this. This is, I think.
Oh, you must have just put it in, okay,
I
it
think
was just
she-
put
I
up
think-
here,
Yeah, I
okay,
think she put it in there.
okay,
Probably just pulled everything out of your bin.
yeah. Linda, if you want to come on up here.
Sure.
It's in regards to the Shade Tree Commission, and I think it was referred, you contacted Jeff originally, is that
Hi.
correct?
Hi.
I don't know, have you met Jeff?
Yes,
before?
I've
Yeah,
met him
yeah.
before. You good, how are you?
And you, I had suggested to come here because for planting the trees for, correct?
Yeah, we did one last year, tree planting demonstration. We'd like to do it again this year, and just would like to get, your approval to plant it. What I did was, we tagged an area, I did blow these up, but there's two copies of kind of the same thing. The one picture shows, the green is where we planted it last year, and the little red circle is where there's a pink flag indicating where we'd like to plant one.
Cool.
Depending how things go, if this continues on a yearly basis, it would be nice to have like those small tree, like a grove of them along that path.
Yeah.
So that's where we'd like to do it again in conjunction with Earth Day at the end of the month. And
Awesome.
we'd just like to get your thoughts and approval on it.
Yeah, I mean, I had said there's probably no objections, but that it's a better idea to
Sure.
come in front of a group and have us say, yeah, this is a good spot for it, and then
Yeah.
you don't have to hear it later, so.
The funding's
I
from where?
spoke to.
It's being donated.
Donated.
Yeah,
Okay.
donated.
And I suggested that he contact you, maybe this is
Yeah,
what.
yeah,
Yeah,
that is
right.
exactly
Yep.
what that came out.
Yeah, that's the
I
one.
spoke to him, we're gonna make we have signs we need to make up so that we can better direct people where that's gonna be, so.
Okay.
Is that something we have to approve, or you just do it?
I told him, and I really do think you all need to be in the loop,
Yeah.
to decide what kind of tree and where, because there may be something you guys are planning on doing that they're not aware of, and so I think in planting stuff at the park, I think you all
Yeah, oh, yeah,
absolutely
I-
could be.
Well, then, this will pigtail that. I actually got to talk to Hans on Easter, who's donating 2 trees,
Mhm.
I guess off of the boardwalk at the end of Weeder Lane.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think you have them marked in. He's just waiting for it to be planted. He did not pay. I asked him what kind of trees. He said whatever they recommend.
White pines, you pick them up.
Okay, and he said that, when you send the bill, he'll pay it, and he's looking for, I guess, like donated by and putting it on the rail at the boardwalk or wherever you're gonna put it.
We're taking care of that. We're going to do, he asked for a plaque in May, so
And
we're
you
going
all,
to be taking.
and we picked up the trees, but I spoke to Reds about the borough getting out of the billing process, because it costs us money to generate a bill, and since we're already planting the tree, the Shade Tree Commission was gonna start gathering the money up front and taking care of the payment. And I thought Red said he was gonna do that with these trees. Do you know if he did?
That would be
Maybe you can ask, because we picked up the trees, and there was no paperwork that came with, so
Right.
we just need to know.
Yeah, and I just thought since she was here and you're doing
Sure.
one, maybe you could take care of all 3 at one shot.
Well, we don't, we can't, because this planting is more of a demonstration during Earth Day festivities.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll just slip those other ones in. We basically picked them up the other day, and it's been too wet to even get out in there.
Now, when you send the bill, I would hope that we send some kind of thank you saying thank you for donating trees to the
Oh,
borough.
absolutely, yeah,
And then-
absolutely, along with the plaque. And we
Okay.
thought because of the railing and it being, if we put it down there, we're afraid kids might take it off, and you can't really put it on the tree, so we thought we'd get something to put right on the railing of the vet bridge, that wood bridge that's there. Is there a way that you can get a copy of that bill to us so we could get it to Hans?
I don't even know if we have a copy. I think Reds was supposed to have contacted them, and I don't know, I think from here forward, we're gonna do this for sure.
Okay.
But this one was like right in the middle of it, so I don't
Yeah.
really know where we're at.
Where'd you get them at?
At Herbuds.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, I know he's kind
They're
of
the
the
ones he
contact
picked
person.
out,
Mhm.
because they knew right where they were.
Yeah.
But they are white pines, that's what
Okay.
they chose.
Yeah.
So then, let me understand this, the borough will plan it, or the Shade Tree Commission?
No,
will
we
be
plan-
responsible?
we're gonna plant
We'll
those
it,
too.
And you'll take care of the bill?
But those
We'll get
guys,
Hans to donate, he said he would pay for them,
Right.
so we'll make the loop.
you're
Get the bill
gonna be there on
to-
Earth Day?
Yes,
So what they did last year, Brett, was the Shade Tree Commission does and planted this bush and kind of explains, it was kind of more of a little
Demonstration, exactly, yeah.
And I expect they're gonna do the same thing for this planting,
yeah.
right?
This one's a magnolia tree, it's called a, I just went blank, it's a deep purple one. It's really, black tulip magnolia. I tried to print a picture out this morning to show you guys, and it just wasn't printing for me this morning. But that's what was donated. Doug Hall he works over at Rodale, and one of the companies I think that he works with is who got the tree donated.
So you're saying we should make a vote to approve the
No,
placement?
I'm not saying that you
Type?
necessarily make a vote. I personally think that
Yeah.
you all, as the Parks and Rec
Just to know.
committee, should know what they're planning
So
and
that way, if
where.
we had an objection, then we would raise
Wow,
it.
this looks like
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
really
cool.
perfect.
No, I don't, this is great. 3 donated trees in 1 year. I mean, how many came down in the last season?
Yeah.
That raises an issue I need to talk to you about when we get to talk to Rick.
Sorry, I don't think
Is it a tree or is it more like that one?
No, it's a tree. It's a,
Okay.
trunk, and then the tree will come
Yeah,
out.
totally.
Yeah, that's actually just the lead,
Yeah.
the buds. But that's the same one on the same site that I had pulled up.
Oh, okay.
So there should be a picture, there were 3 images on the.
Yeah, okay, I see him, yeah.
So it's an actual tree. It's not a big tree, it's more like a nice flowering tree, but
Yeah.
it is, that other one is more like a bush, where this
Right.
one is.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it should be great. I mean, I just thought it was also a good idea just to have, if something's gonna be planted down there, especially as there's talk of, I mean, how the park is moving at all times, and
Mhm.
there's always gonna be change, so.
And it's along the path, which we thought would be
Yeah.
neat.
And flowering trees in the park are, I mean, that just makes spring awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
We're okay?
Yeah, no, we're good. I don't
Excellent.
think do we need anything official? No.
Okay, all right, great.
Good, approval.
All right, we'll see you at the
Thanks for coming.
Sure, thank you.
So should I tell Ron he'll be planted sometime during spring?
We will get to it as soon as we can, it's really been just very wet.
Okay.
And I don't know, I'm hearing that these trees were evidently in the mill for 2 years. I don't know.
Okay.
I kind of got wind that from you, I think that he was questioning what's happened to him. I found out about him in like December or into November.
Yeah, that's
So,
fine, as long as
but
it's moving forward.
Just to let him know, we are, before the next 2 weeks go by, if we don't get any rain, they'll be in the ground.
Okay.
What I was shooting for.
Cool. I have one additional letter from Shirley Polster. She's writing on behalf of the Emmaus Historical Society and looking for a fee waiver. Says it here somewhere. They're looking for a fee waiver for Wednesday, June 19th, 2013. I don't think that there is a fee for that. They reserve the Moser and Lyons Pavilion, right? It's a weekday.
And it's a borough organization.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a fee anyhow, right? Is
There's
it?
always a fee to rent a pavilion, but our practice is always to waive the fee for borough organizations
Okay,
during the week.
yeah.
I think it actually says it right on our fee schedule.
For
I think it says it.
organizations. I knew we changed it. I was trying to remember what.
Where we
did.
don't have
Okay.
that food all the time.
Yeah.
I'm positive it says.
Okay, good.
Do we have copies of fee schedule over there? It might say, I think it says it right.
That'd be great. And you would-
That's not something I put on it.
That's eliminated, so we don't have to approve it all the time.
So do we want an approval or should we just let Jessica know?
Let's see what he's got. He's talking Shirley.
Yeah.
Borough service clubs or borough churches, no charge on weekdays.
There you go. That's a borough service club, right?
Yeah, Miss Historical Society.
Okay, so we don't have to address those unless there's a conflict with something else. That's the only time we'd have to address it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll contact. Can I have that?
Have you been there yet? They're waiting for you. I think they're in the Historical Society.
When are they open, like Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday,
Yeah.
12 to like
They'll see me someday.
I'm sure if you call them, they'll hang out there.
You've never been
Let you visit.
Really?
It's limited hours and it's
Yeah,
in the middle
no,
of the day on Saturday.
I have,
About the only time I can see my son during the whole week.
yeah.
I work every day.
Take your candy when you take them in there.
So, I don't have any other edits, just make sure. Yeah, that was all yesterday's. So, anyone else have another item, or should we jump into?
I don't. Was there anything from last night that
We took care of that?
There were only 2 items.
Yeah, I don't have that. Just, I met with DCNR today.
Okay, cool.
Do you have information or
I
letters
don't,
from
I don't
them?
have an official letter, but,
We have till like the end of the week.
okay. Rodale is willing to, or, yeah, okay.
Their feeling is that they're seeing less grant applications this year than
Okay.
the past couple of years, especially in the planning realm. They don't think that it's going to be, they think that we have a good shot because the competition is kind of down this year.
Nobody's got money, huh?
Yeah. So we informed him that, we think the study would take, by the time we got the grant and then started the study, would take at least a year to complete the study. He felt that what we were putting together was good. So.
Great. Yeah, the other organizations I have not reached out to, but,
You and I are both guilty of that.
okay,
So,
okay.
we have to do some legwork in between now and.
Yeah, but I mean, they can vouch for it, and then if we add additionals later, that's
Yeah, right.
just isolated. Okay, Jeff, if you want to,
I just wanted to give you a little rundown on where we're at with the field and ultimately get permission to proceed. I want to first talk about the Legion field, the temporary fence for the outfield. I would rather stay away, I want to know your opinion on this stuff, whether you want to just defer it to EYA or whether you want to have some dog in the fight here.
Yes.
Yes, for what?
Yes, I want to say in this,
With
because
regard-
I'm not happy with the bullpens at all. I think it's ridiculous.
I think it's ridiculous.
I mean, why would we need a cage for a bullpen? I just don't even, and I didn't even know that was happening, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And that's some of the things why I want to keep you guys in the loop, because the service clubs, I think by virtue of, as much as appreciating the donation, kind of taking ownership in the thing, and I still believe that you all should call
we
the
need to know.
shot. The outfield fence, we have 2 choices. Basically a mesh fence, I don't prefer it, but you can buy this, and it might be easier, it's easier for storage. I have some concerns as far as longevity, durability. It would be much easier to put up. Basically, you'd have some holes in the ground and you would put this fence up. The other option is to do it on a chain link. And what I was planning on doing was just, we're gonna need 65 10-foot sections.
okay,
So what I was planning on doing was getting a price on having a contractor make essentially 65 gate panels. Except they wouldn't have feet on them, they would project down about 18 inches. We would put some sleeves in the ground, and we would just go along and set these. There would be a slight gap between them, like you would see on the gate,
yeah,
and it comes with ties to go around it.
okay.
So my first thought is, do either of those choices zing you?
Can I see it a little closer, please?
And one question that ties into the fence,
The fence below that is the white fence, the plastic.
Yeah,
That was what we spec'd out in the grant.
yeah,
Quite honestly, when we spec'd it out, I didn't like it.
okay.
Which one?
The white
The
plastic,
mesh?
the same page.
Oh, this.
Yeah, that's what we spec'd out in the grant application, but to be honest with you, it's not sturdy, it's a cheap.
there also is another concern raised, which I don't think is valid. One of the guys that works for me is swearing up and down the 4-foot-high fence is illegal, and I don't believe it is, but my thought is, I'm trying to get a fence that we can deal with,
Yeah, yeah,
that it doesn't take us a week to put up and a week to put down.
Yeah.
Storage
Jeff.
is gonna be an issue. So my personal favorite is having them make the panels.
Jeff, these mesh ones, they're not breakaway or anything. They're solid.
They're solid.
So if they fall over the center of it and it stretches and whatever,
Or the weed trimmer, or the mower.
Trash.
The other thing that I was planning on doing with that fence, if we did it, and this would cover up the look that you're gonna have, where each panel comes together, you get that? It's not, you're gonna set a panel just like this, adjacent to it, so the other side of that panel is gonna go up, so at every one of these panels, you're gonna see a fence line that goes like that. What I'm thinking about doing is purchasing, I believe you can find this product in a roll, that's padded and
That's
basically
easy.
go over the top. It won't be hard.
Oh, I see.
It'll be a roll of it that we would fasten along there. And then again, for storage,
Yeah.
we would take it off and roll it up. And so my question is on you with this fence, do you think I think the 4 foot high is acceptable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and part of our issue is we have to design this fence so that during the winter months, we can store it. Because you
Yeah,
know, you
yeah,
want a
no.
temporary fence, so it has to be
Yeah.
designed in such a way that it's,
Storage.
it would be
Okay.
stored. Otherwise, we'd put a metal fence up there and call it a day.
Well, concern for me also is cost. I mean, I would think that's very expensive.
Well, I think we're gonna be getting into the same realm. I think the netting is, I don't know exactly what the cost would be. We need about 650 feet, so I don't know exactly what the cost of the net is, but we will make the fence
Nice.
happen
Yeah.
within budget.
When I spec'd it out, I spec'd out a 330-foot fence, the white plastic panels, and I think it was spec'd out at somewhere around $6,200.
And that's Fowler. Is
It's
that
more
Fowler?
than 300. You had to have worked in more, because this is like 680.
Yeah, no, I think it was a 330-foot fence.
But-
Somewhere on that fence website was a calculator for
If you
this
take,
is how much you need for this far of a
if you
fence.
take the number of those panels, and I'm essentially calling them a gate panel, because they're gonna be 10 foot long. If they can make those panels for $100 or less, we're fine, and I think they can.
Now, those 10-foot panels, do they have those legs in the back?
No,
like
they're
it's
gonna
showing?
have
You're gonna
poles
have
sticking
holes
down
as
that are
you
gonna
get it.
go into receiver brackets.
Okay, so storage will be easier because it won't have those legs on it.
Correct.
Now, do you have an idea where you're storing this?
No. One thought was to leave that where we'll have, no, I don't. I think it's gonna be the canal homestead.
In the
There's
barn.
too much, yeah, there's too much stuff there. And and there is some, where the soccer kickboard was that we took down, there's some metal poles left there. I was actually hoping to put some brackets on there and hang that stuff close and chain it and lock it, so we didn't have to move it so far. But I don't know how that's gonna work, and I think we might have too many panels to do
You're gonna
that.
have pretty many, it's gonna take up a lot of space. The pool's an option,
It
but it's
is.
gonna take up a ton of space. I mean, it may be,
And that's okay, we use the pool for that all the time, and that may be another option.
but it's gonna take up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the durability and.
But
you
we'll
want
have that
outside
out
and
before
covered.
pool opens, and we're putting it in after, so that is one of the options.
Now, would it be smarter to make every other panel go into the ground?
Every one of them are going in.
Well, wouldn't it be smarter then to make a panel that somehow clips in between? Because otherwise you're gonna have hole right here in the
You're
ground.
gonna have them run adjacent to each other.
Wouldn't it be smarter to make every other panel go into the ground and then have this in-between panel somehow clip to attached to the panel?
You'll lose
Is there
your
like a pipe
rigidity.
clamp?
Well, I'm having a hard time selling the guys on making that, I know it can be done. I think you're gonna lose your
Okay.
rigidity. What I'm planning on doing is driving the posts down right aside of one another, and I'm not planning on using any concrete. I'm gonna drive a 3-foot anchor down and leave 18 inches for them to set the fence down in. And then we'll find something to block those openings, and next spring we'll find it with a locator, and all of those finer details, I don't think we have quite completely
Okay.
figured out yet, but I think you would lose your rigidity in the fence if you did
If
that
you put
right.
if you put a panel in between?
No one likes to feed on them, I don't like to feed on
No,
them.
I agree. You're using round tubular steel or are you
Yeah,
using square?
it would be round, it'd be
Round.
just like it would look just like that.
Okay.
Okay, Jeff, in a normal season, they would go up when and they would come down when?
Beginning of the season, end of the season.
I don't know when it is, that's why I'm asking.
Beginning
April
like
1st.
now,
Yeah, probably
maybe,
now
maybe
to
now till
July.
end of July,
31st?
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
unless they have playoffs or something, I think that would
I think
change.
early August, maybe if you were hosting a state tournament or something,
Right.
but by early August, you'd have them out for football to be able to use that area. If they play fall baseball and they figure it out, you just wouldn't give them a fence in the fall.
Yeah, I think there's an ultimate date. I think it's.
I would think it's first
Saturday
weekend in
in-
August would be Legion State tournament.
So that would be the latest.
Okay, so that's one thing I want you guys to weigh in on. So I'm hearing you guys are okay with the 4 foot,
Yes.
and you're okay with, you think the metal's better?
Yeah.
You agree with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Going to the pitching cages, that was supposed to be a scout project, which I have another scout calling me that I'm from now on gonna push them right through Jane. I think we
I
need
think we're
to,
done.
I think we need to
Okay.
interrogate
They should
these
have
kids,
to
and I
come
think
here.
we need to figure out what
They
they're
should have
doing,
to come
because
here with
every
a plan.
single scout project we've gotten into is
Wait,
that.
what have you said, what do you mean we're done?
As far as entertaining them to do recreational.
Here's what happened
I'm
with
not
this
against
guy.
that, I think it should be
This
done.
guy-
But the
case
problem,
by
the
case
problem is
basis.
exactly what he just said, though. Every single one that we've done
But
has
it-
been, has bombed for him.
It should be case by case basis though, I don't wanna start shutting down scouts for Eagle Scout.
I'm just telling you what his
What-
issue
what
is that
I-
everyone's been a
What
problem.
my suggestion is, Brent, is I personally don't want to stop it, but I think we need to approach it differently. I think we need to have the scout formally request in writing what he's going to do,
Yeah,
and that has not been done.
no, I don't have a problem
And
with that.
so I'm just saying we need to change our procedure and screen these kids out to make sure we believe they can do the
I
work.
thought we had, the project that did the trail going down to the Wildlife Conservancy that was a good project, wasn't it?
But
Was
Borough
that a
did most
problem?
of it.
We built the trail.
I mean, they did most of the, I
The
mean.
volleyball court,
Yeah.
we built the volleyball court.
Yeah.
The only thing the Cub Scout did was drag the sand with a picnic table. When I went out there one day, he's dragging the sand with a picnic table tied behind his truck. So I'm just telling you, they don't work
Okay.
out well. So all I'm suggesting there is, all the people that are coming to me, I'm pushing through, and I think we need to develop a process.
I know.
But here's where we're at with
We'll give
the,
him the brine.
here's where we're at with the batting cages. The Cub Scout was supposed to collect,
Yeah.
the Cub Scout was supposed to have collected half of the money. He did not collect half the money. He was supposed to build 2 cages, he built 1. And he built it so badly, after I spent quite a bit of time with him, I had my duty man go down and meet with them. They actually erected it in horrible shape.
Oh.
They were tore down and re-erected, it still looks
You should see
bad.
the photo.
It's terrible.
It's,
So here's where we're
Somebody
at.
drunk.
We have 1 batting cage, one pitching cage on the third base side that's in place and needs to be fixed, and we'll fix that one. To save the money on the other one and to help out this fence process, one of my workers had an idea, which I agreed with, and that is to move the batting cage to where the warm-up cage is and use it as a combo,
I agree,
batting and pitcher's cage, and then we don't have to build another one.
I agree.
Are you guys okay with that?
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we
I'll
do
put it
at
out there and take
William,
it out, but that
William
makes sense.
Street, we use the batting
I can't
cage
picture it, but
for
why
pitching.
that
At
makes
Kiwanis,
sense.
we use a batting cage for pitching. That's how Kiwanis and William
Okay,
Street
so
does
we'll
it.
do that,
Exactly
and
the
we'll
same
just, we'll
thing.
make that happen.
You use it as your bullpen.
The backstop construction, the tall part of the backstop. Where we're at now is we're just gonna take all that fabric down, gonna paint the poles, gonna put up new fabric, and then the third base line, on the first base side, there's an 8-foot tall fence that runs for 130 feet that goes in front of the bleachers. What I'm suggesting is we add a section of fence along third base similar to first base that would shield the people watching
Protection.
there and to balance the
Basically,
field out.
Shields like where the berm is.
Kind of to toe the berm, yep. You know?
I can't stand the fence on the first base side. It's
Okay.
so hard to watch a baseball game through
Okay.
that fence.
Stand in the
It's-
outfield, though.
It's necessary at first base because of overthrows, because
Alright.
they're going to throw it and the spectator's going to get hit
Okay.
on first base.
Well,
Okay.
what
I
about
don't
a
think it's just
what
necessary
about
there.
what about a 15 or 16-year-old kid pulling the ball?
I agree with you, but it's always been like that, and we've never had anyone
That's
injured
all
there.
well and good, except for the fact that if somebody does get injured there, then what?
I guess you're
It's
right.
a baseball game, though.
I
I
guess
mean,
you're right.
every field,
I don't, now, third base is up and back.
You're gonna be
The
looking
bleachers
over the
are
top.
up and back.
Either that or you're gonna be
First
looking
base.
right through the bar.
they hit it the hard. You go to an
Right
Iron Pigs
behind
game
us,
where
we're
they hit it
looking
the
right
hardest
through
you
the top bar.
possibly hit
Sit
it,
at
and
it.
there's no
Make sure
protection.
people sit on that,
Yeah,
on those
but
bleachers before you
You're on your own
Because
there.
that's
though.
definitely
Well, that's my
old
point.
timers. Really.
It's a baseball
That's
game.
where all
You'll
the
be
guys
paying
sit.
attention.
They're not gonna be happy with
We
that.
don't have to
Our rules
decide
are a
on
little
that. It
different
sounds
than
like
theirs.
there's some concerns. We will, let's readdress
First
this
base,
later.
it's
How's
very
that?
hard to watch a baseball game through the fence on the first base side, but it is what it is. You know, for safety's sake, you want it there, and it's even with the dugouts there. Your bleachers.
How far
are-
out? How far out are the bleachers in left field?
It's about a 100-foot piece of fence we'd have to put up.
So how far are they from home plate, though? That's what I'm asking.
So that probably goes to the edge
I mean, if they're far enough out, then it's
They're far enough out and they're up. They're set back compared to the first base side.
They're a little further back.
They're back up on the hill as compared to the first base side, and all the old guys sit right there. They're not gonna wanna look through a fence.
I think I
You're gonna hear- you're gonna hear complaints from the
third
old guys,
base
so that's
side
their
won't
spot.
be as much action over there, and
Okay.
Sit on those bleachers
I'll
first
take
and
it.
see if it's,
Yeah, put
needed.
down and see.
All right, I'm basically.
Please don't just say,
I'm
because I
just
said I don't
basically
like
here
it.
At this point, no offense, but I will check that.
Check
but
it.
I
Have
think we
somebody
might
sit there
have
and
that
think about it.
situation.
And you might be able to push bleachers back back a little bit. for
By the way,
safety's sake.
that was part of the consideration for the backstop. It wasn't really the driving motivation for what we're doing here. So it's not necessarily a required element.
Is the backstop being moved back, or is it?
No.
No.
So I thought originally that was being moved back.
Originally, when the field was first designed, that was part of it.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just
We've already
replacement on
built
the same
infield,
pole.
so
That was
we're-
that was to move the infield back, so we didn't have to do it back.
It's
So it's a change.
Okay.
Now, is there any thought of the backstop leaning
They don't
inward
want
at
that.
all? They don't want it, they still want a straight up backstop?
So they don't want us to replace, like, they don't want us to buy a commercial backstop now.
They do not want
They
to
want,
backstop.
they want us to
Just replace the mesh?
replace.
Paint
They're
mesh.
happy with leaving it straight, and they're claiming that they get more playable balls, that
But we have metal fencing to replace there though, right? Like panels.
we will take down all the fabric and put up new fabric, but we will paint the poles. We're gonna leave the backstop looking just like it is, it'll just be refurbished.
When you say fabric, you mean the metal?
The chain link.
Does the chain link have to go all the way to the top?
It
or
does
can
not, and that presents a little bit of a problem, and we'll work that out. I'm gonna be meeting with them, and
Why
right now it does,
Because
and the
What's the
anticipation.
purpose of spending money on metal all the way to the top when you don't need metal all the way up there? You could put some type of black fabric up high.
Well, you'll have to replace it. You
I don't know if
I'd
it's
rather
cheaper.
10, 15 years.
I'd rather
The
just
black
do it.
fabric will dry, I mean, the only issue there is it dry rots or
Okay.
enough baseballs hit it, you know, eventually it's gonna wear the.
Yeah, I think just from a look standpoint, it looks better, the mesh.
I mean, you still
Because
want to
it's
keep it the same
incredibly,
height though.
that backstop is
Yeah.
incredibly taller than it
Yeah, yeah.
needs to
Well,
be.
My
But I
thought
think
is,
that's probably
my
to
thought
protect
is,
them
if
from
they
going
don't
in
need
the
that
parking lot,
backstop
yeah.
that high, then
They
let's cut
cut
it
it
down.
back
And let's leave the fabric to the top of whatever it is
Okay.
we're going. That's what I think. Because if you're gonna replace something and something's gonna rot, like the netting or the fabric,
Yeah.
you want that down lower where you can get to it.
Okay.
Which brings me to the last thing, and that is we're gonna be putting a new sunscreen on the back.
Okay.
Once we're finally done, which we already did that. So all of those things describe what we're talking about. As soon as the field dries out, we'll be on it to finish. We got some work left to do. They're chomping at the bit to get us going, but we're just waiting on the weather.
Yep.
So that's where we're at with the Legion field.
Budget-wise, we're good.
We're good.
How'd
I
you get-
believe
How'd you
that,
get 650 across the back?
Sam measured it.
650.
This way, this
600
way.
feet, the arc.
This way.
Well, the
The arc.
website that I looked at said multiply the distance times 1.6 to get the arc around the back, and you're gonna be like 330 times 1.6 isn't 650.
Yeah, I only took his numbers
So
and,
make sure John or somebody
I
else
think
does
this,
that.
I think this website probably has that calculator. 'Cause that's how I measured
physically
it,
had
that's how I
him
measured the
do some
fence.
measurements on the building, so I'd know what was over in that corner. Unless I wrote the number down wrong, which I don't think I did.
When I did the,
Sports.com, I see.
when I did the calculation on the plastic, they gave you the multiplier, and so
Okay.
I figured out how many panels I needed for that. So-
I'm sure you'll get the correct number.
Foul pole to foul pole, is that what we're doing?
You gotta go 50 feet past on the third base and 20 feet past on first base.
Okay.
So you got an extra 70 feet beyond the foul line to foul line.
Why do we have to go 50 feet past the first base? That'll run into,
That'll go up to the base of the hill, and that'll just kind of box in the field a little bit.
so you're saying it would
Mine was
come,
foul pole to foul pole.
it would come foul pole to foul pole, and then it would come back?
No, no, no.
It would go out?
Here's your field like this. It would run past a little ways, and it would run past a little ways. Your foul markers are there and there. Just so that it went beyond for any, I don't know what.
I mean, I wouldn't pay for 5 extra panels of foul territory, why would you? You just go foul pole to foul pole.
Yeah, I don't
would
necessarily
think.
think it
I mean,
needs
you
to.
could, I don't think it would hurt, but
Okay. All
you
right.
just put a line there, and if it goes
Okay.
past there, it's ground rule, I don't know.
That's the other thing.
It could be in play.
You would do it
but
if you were running a fence all the way,
around,
if you were running the fence all the way
if you were
down.
closing it in, but we're not.
All
You
right.
could just do a.
I know when I did my calculation
Put it out of play pole.
originally, Jeff
there
was
is.
foul pole.
There is,
foul
but I
pole.
mean, it could still be in play and go that way, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It could curve and go
If
that way past the
if
fence.
they
but-
have any information that they are adamant about, I'll relay that. to
Okay,
them. But
yeah.
we will go foul line to foul line.
In which case they call it a ground rule vote.
Because you could always add panels if you had to
Right.
afterwards.
Yeah.
And then,
Instead of pays for 7 extra panels you don't need.
and then what we're going to do for our markers is we're gonna use, here, I don't know what happened to it. They're a flag-looking sort of a thing. They're 20 foot tall. It's a pole with a big metal panel to mark your foul lines. Nothing
Metal,
here and there.
PVC, what is it?
No. They're 20 foot tall, and they're meant so that you can, whoever officiating can recognize.
Will
the
they
foul
be
line.
taken down too and
They
stored?
will be in the sleeves, and they will come out.
Yeah, that's great.
and- Okay, all right, so that settles the Legion
Hey,
field.
Jeff, actually, just real quick, out of curiosity, do you know the height of the, have you ever been to the Church Lane field?
Yeah.
Do you happen to know the height on that fence?
I do not.
4, I would think.
Is it 4?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I was trying to think, I kind of thought it was 4
It's a
also.
long. Yeah, the kids jump it. Like my son,
They
the
do.
kids my son's age, if they're going in that field to practice, they jump the fence to go in.
Okay,
So it probably is 4
Yeah,
feet
yeah.
because they couldn't go much higher.
Okay.
Now, there is one, Church Lane has one along the back, like between the road and the field that is considerably taller.
where the bushes are.
Yeah,
Like those.
that one's big. That one you could never, that one would be
Okay,
at
that's
least
what
6.
I was thinking that.
But the
was
outfield
high.
fence, if you hit a home run, I would think it's 4 because the kids jump over it. And they like jump and on their bellies go over it.
So do you
William
think-
Street's 4,
But
right?
do you think
Kiwanis is 4.
that, do you think that it has to be bigger than a 4-foot fence?
No, that's what Kiwanis is. That's what Church Lane is. I don't know.
Let me tell you, I heard that they had an accident out on Lower Macungie Fields, and they sued, and the family won, and now 4-foot fences are illegal. That was the story I got.
I would
from-
think it would be more dangerous to have a fence taller than 4 feet because kids that are going into the field are going to climb up it to jump over, and if it's 6 feet, the kid's going to fall, could fall.
What I heard after I heard that from the one person, the other person told me that that wasn't the story, that the fabric was put on upside down, and the kid cut his arm on the wires, and that was the problem. And so I think it's my contention, and I think it is yours, that 4 foot is the appropriate height.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd like to see is some sort of cap on the whole thing.
Yeah.
I know you talked about just where the seams are.
No,
No.
I'm planning on putting this piece, if I bought this piece 18 inches wide and 200 feet long,
I
it's
gotcha.
going on the whole top.
I thought you meant just for the cap.
No, no,
Okay,
no.
okay,
There you
great.
go.
All right,
Okay, cool, thanks. Jeff.
Any other notes, just let me know when,
Okay.
any adjournment.
You may just throw them through your little.
Okay, so that settles the Legion
Yeah.
field.
Yes.
The grading, I had to get a hold of the Conservation District, because there was a question on whether we needed an E&S plan or not,
Have a good night, guys.
Good, thanks.
and whether or not they needed to review it. And after checking our salvo ordinances, and after checking the requirements that we're required to follow, we do have to have an E&S plan, and I'm in the process of making it. We do not have to have it reviewed, it has to be reviewed by Jim, and so we'll do that. I've gotten 3 quotes for grading, and they're within our purchasing threshold, and I'm asking for permission to proceed with that grading. What I'm gonna require the contractor to do is give us as an insurance certificate as an additional insured, which they will need to do on our site. But I need permission for that. And then, once the grading's done, I don't have the hydro seeding guy lined up yet, but we have some quotes for that, and I'm working on a couple other people as well. We'll then be doing some hydro seeding on the graded area. The net that's along the back of the field, at first we weren't sure we were gonna need it. I wanted to make sure the high school was still using the field, and they are. So by our contractual requirement, we're obligated to provide stuff, so we will be putting up a new net on that. It'll look essentially the same.
Yeah.
We are gonna, after we put all this together, we are going to have some money laying on the table here. And I've been in touch with the lady at the county about this. And we are gonna be able to factor in the trail. The football organization has approached me about a building, which you guys are aware of.
Yep.
I've also talked to her about using some extra monies to try to get that going. She didn't seem to think that that was a problem at all.
Great.
I do think there's gonna be some extra money to help them with their building. I would like to also purchase a water cannon that we're gonna need for these fields. And she said that was also possible. So I'm ready to start. I think everybody else is ready to
Yeah.
start. I need to finish my E&S plan, with a couple little, Ts we gotta cross, nothing major. And I need to, I wanna give Ed the go-ahead on this so that he can get it into his schedule.
So you need a motion for?
I just need you guys
approval.
to tell me I'm okay to start grading, start working on the backfield. It's all in accordance with the grant guidelines and all that.
Yeah, I mean, we've approved
Do
the
we have to
project,
recommend?
You have.
Project's approved.
but,
You're
yeah.
Now, the one
Just
question
to make
that
you
I'm
feel
at-
comfortable, yeah. let's
the one
give
question
that approval.
I need you to tell me is, we have a donation that was pledged to us, and are you looking to have them issue us their pledge before they start work? Or how are you going to handle that?
You're saying you're concerned, how do we get one?
Is this a new one?
My concern isn't anything at all, it's just I want to know what to do.
Okay.
The football group is pledged $17,000 towards the project.
Right.
EYA has pledged like 25, and they've spent a lot of their pledge. They have 5,000 left, and so they've been buying their own things. That's why we didn't get the money. We are now in a little slightly
Doing
different
the work.
situation.
Yeah.
I'm just asking you how you want to do that. I don't care either way.
I mean, we have, just, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Do you guys have a preference as far as what works for you guys? Because if the money's there and you want to put it up front and we'll just start moving forward, or?
Well, in that regards, I don't have a problem with, we donating whatever portion we're donating, and then it being run through the borough. I think that's the cleanest way to go.
Yeah.
Obviously from the contract end or however that's gonna work, I think that's the easiest way to do it.
And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it that way, is because the best way for us is for us to be paying the bill on the grading. And for us to be having all that stuff together.
Okay. So
That's what my thought was.
Would it be more beneficial to have it before the project even starts?
I was just thinking, let's get all that stuff out of the way, and I was gonna talk, I didn't know Brett and Ed were gonna be here, but I was gonna talk to them about that and just work all that out.
Yeah.
So we're ready to go, and we have, the one thing that we're gonna do is put some drainage piping in along the edge of the field to facilitate maybe a little drier area for people to stand. And beyond that, the only thing that I had suggested to Ed and Brett was they need to start talking to you guys about this building, because there are some issues that you all will need to decide upon.
Yeah.
Who's gonna maintain it, who's gonna pay the insurance, who's gonna pay the light bill, who's doing this, who's doing that. And we need to get that lined out quickly, because if we're gonna include this in the project, and I don't think this was anticipated,
Yeah.
this project has 2 years to completion. If we don't finish it this year, it will have a budgetary impact upon the borough, because we're not gonna get the 70 from the county until we're done.
Right.
So if we don't accomplish this project this year, we got a financial issue that we have to address at the end of the year.
Okay.
So that's why I think it's important that
Yeah.
we can easily get these plans in and get them, you guys bless them, whatever you do with them.
Yeah.
And then we can maybe head towards at least getting the foundations in or something. I don't know.
Well, I would think if the football program's gonna be responsible for that building, they should be responsible for the maintenance. Well, I don't know about the maintenance, but the actual cost of the electric and all that. I think they should be responsible for that, and if they ever dissolve, then it reverts back to the borough.
That's gonna take an agreement,
Right.
and that's gonna take
I
sitting
mean, you
down
have to
with
do
the
that
football
anyhow.
group,
Yeah.
and we gotta have all that stuff lined out, like, right away. Because if we're gonna include that building with this project, we got a lot to
Well,
do.
what's our timeline, a month?
I'm just saying, we need to get on it, and I was gonna talk to Ed and Brett about that. We need to head towards that, because it's already April.
Yeah.
By the time we get
Yes, ma'am.
things going and get down to the end of it, we're gonna be towards the end of the year.
If you want to just come up, just so we can hear, I mean, just tell us where you're at, just so that we have a little bit of an update.
Other organizations that do things that way, Shelter House,
Yep.
they take care of their own, correct? We
Correct.
don't- But the bill
Correct.
goes to them, they pay.
Correct.
1803.
Correct.
Everything goes to 1803, they take care of it. Canals Homestead, we get it up front, bill them, and they reimburse us. for their heating oil?
Do that same thing for shelter house too.
Okay, so we have that, but they all have their own electric meter, their own electric bill, the electric goes
Yes.
to them.
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
we're looking at that kind of agreement of how, what
Part
electric.
of, part of my thing was on this building is this is uncharted ground, and I'm not saying it's not doable, but you have some issues that you need to address.
Yeah.
And that becomes the fact that no matter how many other buildings get put there, it still is borough property. So you need to form an agreement that clearly spells out whatever you guys decide upon. That's all I'm
Something
saying.
like 1803 canals are
Something.
the same kind of situations, correct?
Yes.
We allow someone to use a building
Yes.
for their purposes on our property.
Yes.
And we would be agreeable to that. We would pay for the utilities, you know, we would maintain it. If the organization would ever go into default, it would become, you know, it would
Reverse back to the borough.
I mean, in theory, it's yours anyway. It's more like we'd be maintaining at least a building on your property, but we would be agreeable to all of that. That would not be an
The
issue.
thing that's important about that is that all of those things, and when we start doing this, trust me, as soon as you get the attorney in here reviewing that agreement, it's gonna die on the vine, it'll take a while.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying it needs to start now.
Now.
Get a
Not
draft.
because it's complicated,
Yeah,
but
get
just
a
because
draft
it's gonna
for-
take a lot of time.
Gonna need a draft for both sides to review and then.
And I'm concerned about this budget impact at the end of the year, because I don't believe that was foreseen to go over a calendar year, and
No,
we
no.
may in fact do that with the building.
We made a lot of emphasis that, just in our own discussions, I think that we wanted this done.
Yep. Now, what we spoke about was, and I think now is the time to do it. This is the time to grade and plant grass.
Yep.
My guys can't get to it till the fall, so this works out great
Yeah.
to have Ed's company do it.
Yeah.
And
I think it's good.
we've got a good price.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to
Yeah.
grant approval to do the grading on the football field, or the soccer field, whatever you wanna call it. It's gonna be a football field now.
Well, I don't know if this is the time to talk about it, but I
It's
just.
not.
I'll
You
second.
can't
Yeah.
change it. If you're,
Well,
it's still
the
gonna be a
reason I asked
joint
is the
use
high
field.
school was playing soccer on that field in the fall during when we're supposed to be playing football, so.
It's gonna be a joint use field, and that's something you guys got to work out with Parks and Rec.
They're in the afternoon now.
Saturday morning,
Well,
which is when we play our games.
I'm just gonna pause just for a second, just because we have a motion.
I'll second the
it,
motion
just-
to do
And then
the
we'll come to
Yeah.
discussion, but, discussion, if we want to entertain
This
anything.
is just for the grading.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll just talk grading and then we'll come back to that issue. All in favor? So that part, you have,
Proceed with the grading.
yeah.
Okay.
Are you doing?
I guess what I really
Yeah.
want you guys to do is keep you abreast of what's going on. I'm asking to proceed with all the work on the backfield,
Yeah,
like you all had it. I'm just kind of telling you how things have shaken out so far.
yeah. So you're good?
I'm good.
Okay. So your concern is about
Well, right
allowing
now, we
growing
saw that
positions.
there's a field agreement with the high school
Yeah.
for soccer, which would be in the, early afternoon. It would not impact football on weekdays, but it would impact football on Saturdays. They're allowed to use the field Saturday mornings, which if we go to the backfield as primary use, that would conflict with our.
Right. I know the football side has changed. Has the soccer side for the high school changed at all? Did they always request that Saturday as well in the past?
I think so.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It wouldn't have been an issue because we were playing.
Right, yeah, exactly.
We only ever
I
had
was
like
trying to figure out-
JV tryouts,
I know,
and
that's
that's
what I was
gone, but
saying.
they didn't have all the soccer
That's why I
programs.
felt like now wasn't the time for this, because
Yeah.
all those field times get handled with the commission, not
Right, yeah, it's definitely a Parks and Rec Commission issue, and I wanted to ask that because Vicky Groover really is the one that, is the only person that I know that knows the schedule, what's been past history, that's why I asked that question, so.
And some of those school programs.
And they're the ones that make the decision on that, I mean.
Yeah, we already got the letter that they have precedence over us on Saturday.
Right, yeah, and that's a contractual
Who
agreement.
told you that?
Vicky. I already have the letter.
See, and I'm not thinking that's cast in stone. I
No,
guess what I
because we
want
don't
you
do that.
guys to know is,
I think that they do.
you know,
It's part of the-
we have a contractual obligation. But we could probably adjust those times if we just had to sit down and talk to somebody.
I'm sure.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's, we knew it's that, because the high school.
And I can tell you, we could pledge very hard to do that, but we still have to provide a
they
place for
don't
them
used to
to
use it
play.
at all.
Then,
Now-
I'm not sure if this is the right meeting or the other meeting, but you're gonna find them to play it all in
But they're gonna
September,
play-
this grass is
they're
ready
gonna
to
play
go.
on
The grass will be ready to go. And if it's not, they'll go somewhere else.
But I think field hockey.
That field will be closed until it's ready to be played. And that's what the important thing is about doing it right
That's what I
now.
think.
That's what our most important.
Because we will, if it gets seated right, which I'm
Right.
sure it will,
Saturday.
then it'll be good to go. It'll have several mowings on it before you guys hit it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna hit it until we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
let's,
no, that field is absolutely gonna be closed until we're all in agreement it can be open.
so let's, to take this discussion to the commission, the next meeting is the 4th Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
At least that's at night though, see, I can make that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the best place to talk about it, because that's who does all of the field assigning. And Sean Murray from the school will be there. Sometimes they make those requests just generically.
They
I mean, it's the
automatically
same.
do it, and they don't use it on a
Right.
Saturday.
Yeah. 'Cause
Obviously,
that's
you
why I
can
think
understand
it's-
our concern if we
Oh, yeah, totally.
invest all this in there and then we aren't even afforded
Ah.
the opportunity.
You know what I'm gonna do, Ed? I'm gonna call Sean and have a side conversation and just ask him, is there anything we can do? Because, you know, this is a kind of their time, Saturday morning.
Yeah, oh yeah, I think it's always been requested, like you said.
What
just
time
never
of day,
used.
you guys here all day or?
All day on Saturday, right?
All day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Basically
from 7
7
to
till
5 at night,
Yeah,
6 at
okay,
night, depending,
okay.
all day. So and it's not every Saturday that you play games there.
It's only 4 of the 8 weeks, and then we might host a playoff game once.
I would think it would be very rare for them to use that field on a Saturday, because Saturday would be games for them.
No, it was only once, I think, last year they were back there when we were playing.
Okay, and I could not foresee them playing a game on that instead of their
No.
turf,
Or we find
unless
another place for that
it's something incredibly
Saturday.
dire. You know what I mean? So it would be a
Wednesday.
practice, I don't know, but I'm sure.
I
we could
I
work
don't
with
think
them.
you got the final word here. I think you got something that says, this is what I've done, and this is how it stays.
Yeah, that letter usually just has a changed digit on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's the same letter every year, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's the same one I got, so I'm like.
And I can
She doesn't know
understand
who's
you
more
guys
money
are
than-
concerned, you're dumping a lot of time and money into this, and
Yeah,
I think we all need to recognize it's still the borough's field, but you still, I think we need to relook at
definitely.
the use priority on this
definitely.
field.
Jeff, if they needed to use the field on Saturdays, could we move the high school to Klein's Lane?
Absolutely could.
I mean, that's suitable for our high
Absolutely
school?
The agreement is just to say
Yeah,
a field, it
so-
doesn't actually specify.
So we send them up there for 4 Saturdays.
The compost field is a nice field, and
Yeah.
that's the point.
Yeah.
We have, when
I see it
Western
as an
Salisbury
addition,
was
a
here,
very
we didn't
easy
have any
resident.
room for nothing. Now we have some open turf, and we can actually make a move.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll make that call to Sean? then?
I'll talk
I think
to
that's
Sean
great.
and try to get that going and find out, exactly what's going on with that.
Yeah, so I think it's but do come to the next
I'll be there.
meeting so that, yeah, because I mean, I
Just
don't
like
think anyone
anyone
picked up on that
else.
when we approved them in January, so. if
No,
you
we
didn't-
were still going to all the county meetings.
Right, yeah, so yeah, I think it's a,
I need to
Fair
talk to
result.
you about what you anticipated in the way of E&S, because I'm told probably the only thing different that you don't have on there that we're gonna need is a pile of rock and that flow line. Which I can grab a pile of rock from the shop or whatever. You're planning on putting
yeah.
silt fence or that tube
Oh,
around the
Make
perimeter?
that much bigger.
With silt fence down along the track side, and then,
Something.
I guess that would be the side where the
So an
road.
L shape,
Yeah,
tying into the parking lot.
yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
I'm gonna make a
But
motion to move forward with the agreement to have Shane do a rough draft to be reviewed by the solicitor and then forward it to the Emmaus Midget Association. I'm sorry, I don't know the.
It's a lot of letters, it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were telling me that for some reason, I was just gonna
Yes,
throw
Want
a
a rock
rock.
construction entrance or what?
No, they want a
Rough
pile of
draft,
rock with
start
that
with a rough
flow
draft.
line
Yeah.
that we're gonna put the
Would that be
pipe
for the
in.
building?
They want a pile of rock there,
At the end is a clean
All in
filter.
favor?
on the, yes. So we'll
Was that
find
for
some
the
rock
building?
down there.
We're gonna have Shane do like a rough draft, give it to the solicitor, fine tune it, and then get it to us and you, or maybe us, and then finally get it
Now,
to
one
you.
thing that.
Get the ball moving.
One thing that may or may not be an issue, the building, because it's, I don't know how this plays in, these are some of the details we gotta figure out. It may require an architectural stamp on that building.
We got that covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had submitted a building.
Yeah, no, we saw it at the last
Design,
meeting.
we can
Right?
tailor
Was
that.
the last meeting?
There was a couple
I
emails
saw
ago.
the design of a building, and I saw a location. I thought you just threw me a location, I don't know. maybe-
Well,
Well, we probably do
they
one
want to
first.
go 50-yard line on the track side. But that's so far up the field, it's not going to work for them to use the other folks
Get a
wrestling.
vehicle in and
So
out there,
what we
yeah.
talked about was kind of moving it partway down to still kind of give you a view of the field, but also get the people who are going to wrestle in there.
That's out of there right now.
To make it a little more accessible from the road.
Basically, it would look like that. It would have,
Yeah, yeah, we saw that.
yeah.
Just,
Except you guys
No,
are
I didn't
thinking
see
about
it
moving
I don't know that I saw it either. I
the
don't-
second story to the end or something.
Yeah, move it to
right?
the end so we don't have.
Can we look at that for a second?
Sure.
Because I haven't seen it.
But now we might have other options, but that's a rough idea. We're trying to still work with other people for donations and everything else.
I don't know.
But our basic plan would be if we could get that footprint or an idea of what the borough thinks we're gonna put in there, that we would maintain,
Yeah, I agree.
do we have all the electric, have the box on and everything
Yeah, 'cause
else.
it's Like a barn, like it's a two.
Now, I know
and so
that
this is the steps.
CP&L
This is
for
what we're
us,
seeing
and I
that
don't
section,
know if
'cause
they
that's
do it
the
for somebody else,
center.
but we could
Like-
apply on your behalf,
Yeah,
so to
you can see
speak.
it.
Lots of times they'll throw the
So
power
they store
service
stuff
in for
up there,
nothing,
or
so
like
to
a barn
maintain a
type
building.
thing. That's just
So,
storage.
you know, there might be some
Yeah,
ways to
that-
get around it.
maybe
What I would
find out
suggest you
the
guys
games,
do
football games.
is scale this thing down to
Could
where
be,
we
yeah.
can build the shell. And you guys finish it over time, maybe, or
That's
something.
Yeah, I mean,
Object,
I'll be honest with you. Obviously, when we committed the funds, we were under the assumption we would at least be able to get some portion of the building built, that money. So when we originally committed,
Who told you that?
well, that was in our discussions with,
The original grant plans. All our original numbers have that in there.
Who'd you speak with too about that?
Same.
Shane.
Huh?
That's,
I know the building's in phase two, is the reason why I'm asking.
well, yeah, the way that's written is phase two, but it doesn't say that you can't proceed with it. I mean, it's.
You can't, and we can. I talked to her and we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, but I'm saying, I know,
Yeah.
obviously you weren't privy to any of those
That's gonna
conversations,
change.
but when our board
Are you like?
Yeah.
voted to commit
I got a heating
all that
issue.
funding, it was on the assumption that at least we would be able to get some type of shell
Yep.
in that
Had one earlier
proposal.
this
So
year.
that's, I guess, the biggest concern that our organization has. If the building's off the table completely, we're willing to commit money, but I don't know that it's 17,000. I guess that was
well,
the concern.
we're where we're at with the original grant application, with your 17,000 as a commitment. And we go from there, and if we have money left over, then we're gonna try to use it for the building, because it's in phase two. So,
But you were saying before there's a walking trail or something now, that wasn't,
there's a walking trail that's gonna be part of it.
but that
and
wasn't in the original grant, so I don't know, what are the,
That's something
That
that she
probably
says we
was.
can add.
I mean, you would remember when, that was something that you mentioned, but I think.
The building wasn't in the
Yeah, that
original
was-
grant application either.
well, let me put it this way, the only copy that we have of the grant, it speaks of the field grading, the net,
Yep,
and in phase two, the building. That's the only.
I
thing
have the
mentioned.
grant application, that list of elements that were being put in on both fields, and,
Yep. Yeah, I have it right here.
and that's what technically is in this current grant.
But there was no walking trail.
There was no walking trail, I told you that. She's saying that that's allowable.
I'm asking, what's the budget for that? What's the cost?
Don't
of
know,
this?
haven't put it together yet, but my guys are gonna build it. So you're talking labor, won't be any cost. I get the sense that you guys are worried that you're not getting your money's worth.
It's not that we're getting our money's worth, it's that there's 46,000 in the kitty, or whatever, and we're pledging 17 of that, but it sounds like all of our money's gonna go to the field, and there's not gonna be anything left for the building, is the impression that we were getting.
Well, the seating's costing a certain amount of money, and the grading costing an amount, and it might be coincidental with what you're pledging, but that's really that's not really a topic for Park and Rec, is it?
Well, I mean, it could be. I mean, it doesn't
Isn't
sound
that
like.
more of a general administration issue?
No, I mean, I don't know. It's all to deal with the park. It'd probably get pushed back here anyhow. Is the discrepancy from what I hear here is the only discrepancy is that it's costing more to do.
No, I think the gist is
So then-
that
then
from
first-
Ed's and Brent's perspective is they pledged $17,000, okay? When you put the seating and the grading together, you're slightly over 17,000.
Right.
So they're saying, okay, what's the benefit for us? you file for a grant, we're putting in the money that's
I
doing
see
the
what you're
work, how are we benefiting from the grant?
Right, right. I understand that
And,
part.
you know-
But that part you're saying is the coincidental that it just happens to be the same.
But when
The
we,
bottom line
I
is,
got
there's a
you.
lot of money gonna be left on the table, we're gonna get part of this building included, or do our darndest to, and she's already given me the verbal okay that that's gonna work, so I think
Right.
that the other side of the coin is that, from the borough's perspective, we're over 300% more in labor than we put in for this. And I don't even think I have everything. And, you know, so
Yeah.
it
and that's
is what
from,
it
that's
is.
from baseball, or that's,
Total.
Total.
I've got, I'm not even counting all the time that I spend on emails and researching, talking to Lesko for seating, talking about making the ENS plan, all of these other costs are, most of them right now are with the Legion Field, because that's all we've been working on, but trust me, we got way more time involved in this than it is even really tabulated.
Right.
So I guess from what I'm hearing from these guys,
It does.
they're kind of, I'll say upset, but bothered by the fact that their grant, their contribution, it's almost like, if I can say it this way, wouldn't even really need the grant to do what they
Right,
want
they
to
get
do.
it. I get it. I
I
didn't
would,
understand.
I would, we're not bothered, we're not upset. We are grateful for the opportunity to
Yeah.
even be thinking about doing this. I think the concern is, and you have to understand, there's 30 members on our board that are looking for, and again, you were not privy to the original conversation that we had, but at least get some kind of shell built for us to store our equipment in and have an announcing tower. You guys see we have that van down there
Right,
that's
right.
not
Yeah.
looking very good, and it's not weather
Yeah. Yeah.
friendly. And then we also have storage costs off-site at several different facilities where we're spending thousands of dollars a year to store our equipment, and that's why we were hoping to parlay that into.
Right. Save those costs right there.
And I think we're looking for some reassurance that we're gonna have an opportunity to have a building down there to put our equipment in and stuff, and that there will be some funds to go towards it. Now, obviously,
Do you have any estimate of what that building you have a design for? Any
well,
estimate?
that building right there was probably 25, 26,000. Now, that's the Cadillac of buildings, obviously,
Is that doable?
That building's 25 grand?
that's what we got. We have a friend that works at Kistler Building.
Okay. If it's, I guess what I'm going to right now is, you've already got the assurance that the building's trying to be included. And we don't know exactly how much money's left over. There's gonna be money left over, and if there is, we're gonna put it into the building.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. If it's 25,000, there's a good chance it could do the lion's share of it. I don't
Yeah.
really know at this point, and I guess what I need to do is sit down and put some numbers together to see where we're at.
Well, that's all I'd ask. If we could, obviously, I work construction. I know there's unforeseens and there's all that stuff, but if we can get some kind of comfort level that, hey, all right, you're giving 17, but there's gonna be 10,000 towards a building available. That's.
Yeah, I mean,
that
I
goes
I
a long
can't
way.
give you a number right now, but
No,
what
no,
I
not
can
today,
tell you
yeah.
is that I got a pretty good handle on the budget, and, I think I think we can come to a pretty realistic number.
Okay. And that's all I.
And I think it's gonna be pretty substantial, because just think about it. We got 70 from the county, got 17 from you, that's 87. I got another 5 that's due me from the EYA, so that's $92,000, okay? And out of $92,000, we got temporary fence, we got some, product that we need to buy for the field, maybe some more infield mix. We gotta do the grading, the seeding, we gotta buy the pipe. All those things together, really, I don't think they're gonna take us, I think we're gonna be good, I really do. And what I'll do is I'll sit down and try to delineate all of that to come up with like a warm and fuzzy.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think that there's, I mean, I'd like to see if it could be done.
Do it all in one shot.
Yeah, just do it and get it done, make sure that it's done right, and, yeah.
That was why one of the things that you guys really need to do is get this building.
Well, where do we go from here? Obviously, you made a motion to put an agreement from Shane.
Yeah, we're trying to move that along so that if all this comes together, we're already
Done.
ready. If it doesn't, then obviously that just gets thrown up. But at least we can get that conversation going, because that's going to be one that's probably slower than the actual building. Just because it's going to have to go through council.
Where do we go though
discussions.
as far as like is there a zoning permit or, because obviously it's gonna be technically your building that we're building.
Right.
What you're gonna have to do is come up with a final plan. And
Okay.
you're gonna have to take it to Jim. And
Jim
Farnsworth, zoning officer.
You already gave him a copy, say? Or somewhere along the lines? you
I think he's
guys?
got an idea. I think he has one of the copies of these that were on.
So what I would suggest is at some point in time, Jim is going to be reviewing it in the way of a permit. Since it's part of the project, we probably would waive the fee and make that part of the project. But we gotta get to that point so that I can have a piece of paper that I can take to Cindy and say, we wanna include this, and she says, okay.
Yeah.
So, and I think by the time we get to that point, those agreements and stuff need to be all meshed together in case she asks for those.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
But I don't think there's a whole lot you gotta do other than get your plans finalized, get your building plans finalized. And find out from Jim what you need, because I may be wrong about that architectural stamp too.
Okay.
And then, I guess you guys are gonna take that vote to council?
Well, once we get the actual piece of paper that says
Okay.
what to do.
Okay.
Which one? The one that we made a motion
Well,
on?
you guys just made a motion to do the agreement.
Yeah, so we'll get an agreement, we'll then have to review it, we'll then send it to you guys to review. Once we get your feedback, then we'll probably review that again, and then make a recommendation to council. If council has any objections, then it goes back into the whole
Or
process.
revisions.
Yeah, it's slow. I mean, I would think that we couldn't come up with agreement faster than 3 months.
I would think that we're talking about maybe doing the building towards the fall. which
And
is
that's
good.
fine, it doesn't impact us from playing.
Okay,
I mean, we can.
Would actually be better,
Because all our stuff will be out of storage at that time of year anyway.
yeah.
yeah.
And the other thing I was gonna ask you is, once we get to that point, which I really feel really comfortable and positive about being able to fit this in, what are you guys doing with that metal box when you
Cheers.
move it?
We'll donate it to
Cheers.
the borough. We'll donate it to you, you can take it with you.
Okay.
Yes, I mentioned that, I think that.
What about the push stuff that's down there? That's gonna be in the
That'll
way
be
of
pushed
the work?
inside.
Huh?
That'll be pushed, well, for now,
Well, Jay cut up some of it?
we're gonna keep them though.
Okay.
He made them 4-man sled into
But yeah,
2-man
you
sled.
can have the,
Okay.
you can have the sea container. That's-
I'm just, what I'm wanting to know is that stuff's kinda somewhat gonna be in the way?
For the grading, no.
Okay,
And if it is, I mean, we,
all right, push it right.
but I don't think it'll be a problem.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, our goal is to make it,
So what I'd like to get from
Appreciative of
you
your
is just,
donation.
I'll draw up an E&S plan that mirrors what you talked about, because that's kind of what I was talking about. And I'm gonna need an insurance certificate from you, that lists the borough's additional co-insurance, shouldn't cost you nothing.
No, no, I can have that.
And I'll issue a purchase order to you,
Okay.
and I'll give it to your number, and then you just need to schedule it however soon you can come.
Okay.
And then, by the two guys you gave me prices on, and the local dude that,
Hirsch?
I was
First.
suggesting that, yeah.
he's back tomorrow, and John had asked for prices, so I kinda wanted to try to use that guy if we could,
Sure.
but it's all gonna be based on price. And,
And you got the soil sample? Did you get that email?
I did not.
Okay.
Our email's not been working. I think you told me about, or,
I had sent it last Wednesday. Here's a copy of it. It basically, we're good to go as far as, there's just some,
that he recommended.
that was from John Deere.
Okay, because he had spec'd some stuff, just assuming that the soil was, and that's what we have found, the soil's just been pretty much neutral, and all you're doing is feeding all three zones. So is this your only copy?
You can have that. And this was the email I had sent.
All right, all right. We've been having lots of trouble with our email. We somehow ended up on somebody's blacklist. I don't know how that
yeah,
happened.
no, I couldn't email, or, yeah, I couldn't get an email, so it was bouncing back.
Okay, good, good. I'll talk to the guy at Lesco and make sure that he sees this. Okay.
Cool. I don't have anything else. Anything else to add?
So all your concerns and questions at this point?
Yeah, I mean, basically that got answered.
He'll find out
Jeff's
from-
working on the ENS plan, we're pretty much on the same page there.
He'll find out from Sean about the scheduling for Saturdays.
Yes, okay.
I think that's.
I think that's gonna be, that's our easiest thing probably to work around.
Easy. That,
Yeah,
They've
and you know
always
what, I think
when
if you
needed.
just ask the question, Sean, you know, Sean's easy to work with.
yeah. No, I don't see it as an issue. I guarantee it's just, here's the letter we've used for the last 15 years.
Well, no, that's when she sent it out, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it going, I'm concerned this year, if any year. I know you said the dirt's were gonna be ready to go, but we all know it's gonna be soft.
Yeah.
It'll all be,
Right.
and you put them high school kids on that field, we're afraid to put our big kids on there. They're gonna tear it up.
Well, I can tell you, we're gonna keep the field closed until it's ready to go. And
Yeah.
I think that by the time you mow it 2 or 3 times, I think you're gonna see it
Harden up a
really.
little bit.
And you were at the meeting where I believe that even came up to say, we're approving
Yeah,
it,
shut up,
but if it's, oh, okay, yeah, you know what, yeah. I think we said, we're approving this, knowing that there is a variable that we can't predict, and it might mean that you're going to
Okay.
another field.
Right.
So,
Now, we still are gonna be allowed to have front field usage for
Yep.
a couple, we can't put 5 teams on the backfield
Yep.
to practice.
yep.
And we had talked about 1 or 2 of those teams is gonna have to practice on the
Yeah, because
front
that was
field.
not
Oh, yeah.
regraded, and
Yeah.
it doesn't even change the lay of that.
And it won't, I mean, you're saying that fence for
Is
baseball will be
removable.
out by
Yeah.
August, so that's,
Well, and that's the whole thing, if, you know, that, we'll just take it down when we have to. I mean, there may be a time, you know, in the same sort of fashion you're wanting, I guess, that respect on your field. If the Legion field happens to get into a playoff or
We'll work with
something, I mean,
sure.
but we'll try to get it down and out of your way because we want to, I think everybody wants to support
Yeah.
both groups.
We're
Yeah.
easy to get along with.
Yeah, no,
We
the whole
accommodate
process has
anybody
been-
or any, you know.
Yeah,
As long as everybody communicates and is on the same page, I think it'll be fine.
yep.
And it's when you start talking to each other when things happen.
Okay, good. I have just one small executive session issue I need to talk to you guys about.
Okay,
Okay.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch, thanks.
see ya.
Executive session now,
Yes.
and that's going to be it.
Is there
I
anything?
don't have anything else.
We're not,
There's no official action that you think's gonna come out of that?
No.